just forget that share at the moment. All right, so this point here, I would like to introduce you to Tim Hyde. Tim owns and runs a business in Canberra called Win More Clients. And he is a sales and marketing specialist in the area of automation. So so automation, some of you might recognize the term, some of you may wonder, well, what the heck is that? Automation really is about automating some of your sales and marketing and your business processes. So so some of you might have heard of software like Infusionsoft, Keep, Entreport, ActiveCampaign, Drip, those sort of things. They're typically what are referred to as automation tools. And so Tim is well versed in those tools as well. He's won a number of awards, which is always good. So we've got an award-winning person here as well too. What that really means is that he actually knows the stuff. So at this point here, I'm going to hand over to Tim and say, welcome, Tim. Floor is all yours. Now, we have a slight technical hitch in that you're still muted there, Tim.
Oh, there we go. It'd help if I turn my microphone on, eh? What I do tonight, I'm going to do half presentation, half sort of little iPad masterclass. So if at any point, you've got some questions, chuck them in the chat box and we'll certainly get to those as we get to them. So let me just share my screen here super quick. Hopefully this is a flawless process. Where is it at? There it is. There it is. And let's hit play. I don't know if I'll be able to see the chat box, Nick. So if there's any questions that come up, guys, just Nick, if you want to grab those for me.
I'll monitor that through and pipe up every now and again.
Good man. There we go. Okay, so I have sort of loosely entitled tonight's little masterclass, right? More profit, less effort, right? Because that's ultimately the goal of our sales and marketing automation, is to turn our business more into a machine that turns awareness into profits, and somewhere along the way delivers a repeatable customer outcome. So anyway, more profit, less effort, tonight's presentation. This is me. I launched my first business at the age of 6. Which was a modest 41 years ago. Had quite a few businesses since, have worked for a number of years in government and corporate, and gone slowly brain dead in both of those environments, and come back to my first love, which has been business all along. Ironically, I've never owned a lemonade stand, Nick. My first business was a circus, and I spent all my ill-gotten gains on 1-cent lollies at the local shops. And came back and was either high on sugar or high on the fact that I could turn kind of fun into money. Completed an IT degree back when there was no internet, and the words, that wasn't even a word that people used. Same for digital marketing and same for social media. Started my first digital business in 1999 and grew that to 20 million visits a year. And ironically, I only started that with $600 worth of computer parts. Never spent a single cent on advertising. Which is pretty cool. Since I've sort of moved more into the marketing automation space, I've worked with more than 1,000 clients in 23 different countries. As Nick mentioned, a couple of awards there for BX Business Excellence Awards, finalists in Local Business Awards, Australian Small Business Champion, and Telstra Business Awards as well. And appeared on a few of these other websites that you may have seen: CBS, NBC, Fox, ABC, Koshi's Business Builders, Big Smoke, Smart Company, a few others are there. All right, now, if you want to connect with me, go to that link at the bottom. I'll stick that in the chat box, or Nick, if you can stick that in the chat box as well. If people want to connect with me and find out more, you can certainly do that there.
There is a comment in the chat box there, Tim, that that photo of you there doesn't look like you're 6 years old.
No, it's not. Well, that's only a couple of years ago when I still had hair, before my wife decided that I might look like Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings and made me shave it all off. I can't see the likeness personally, but it was one of those drunken bets that we had. Anyway, a couple of things we'll cover off tonight. We're going to look through a sort of 4-step process to automate your sales and marketing machine. The 5 things that every business needs to succeed. The 3 areas that you're most likely to leak clients out of your process, and everybody is doing this. and sadly, even me as well. We're also going to jump into the secret of an automated self-liquidating funnel. Right? One of the things that I hear a lot of clients say is, I need more leads. So I'll sort of throw that in here, and this will give you as many leads as you want. So we're going to drill into that in a little way. And we also thought we'd go into something a little bit different rather than just the normal digital marketing stuff, and that's how to double the number of referrals you get while you sleep. And I know Nick's seen my automated process around that, which is kind of cool. Ultimately, what we want to do is move out of our business. We want to be less in our business and more on our business, as what's his name? Michael E. Gerber says, right? Because inside our business, it's dirty, it's grimy, it's noisy. We get pulled about 1,000 different ways, and the more we can get out of that, and the more consistently and reliably we can deliver results from our marketing. Okay, and of course, we're going to answer questions that you might have. Now, I know, Nick, in the little live videos that you've been throwing up, we've been talking about two key terms, and the first one of those is marketing automation.
Just before you get into that, can I just jump in? Do you want to swap the screens that you're sharing? You're sharing at the moment your presenter screen as opposed to the...
Okay, no worries. Let me share a different one. I don't know which one I'm sharing. I'll share that one. How's that?
All right.
That way you don't see everybody in there as well.
Perfect.
Is that better?
Yep.
Okay, no worries. So marketing automation is software that eliminates repetitive tasks and help you build your brand, sell more stuff, and boost customer loyalty. To be honest, this is one of the best definitions that I've seen on the market. The other ones become too technical. Now, this is pretty much something that everybody wants to do. And the cool thing about marketing automation is that it does it for you, which is obviously really cool. Okay, now the other term, let me just click back on here. The other term that I think you've heard Nick use quite a bit is that your CRM, your customer relationship management software. I sometimes call this contact management software, because ultimately we put all of our contacts in, not just our customers, but it's a tool that allows you to capture, segment, and manage the relationship that you have with your contacts. Now, in my CRM, I have my wife and my son, and I use marketing automation side to send my wife flowers and my son, tell my son to clean his bedroom on a regular basis. Okay, I have been tempted to put my bank in there, and I'm also very tempted to put a message to my mother-in-law from time to time, just to say that, you know, I'm thinking about her. All right, so the two are not always found together, but they certainly work better than they are. So your CRM system can be different from your marketing automation system, and vice versa. Not always are they found together. A lot of people will say Mailchimp is a CRM. It is not. Okay, because while it allows you to capture some information about our customers, it doesn't really allow you to capture a lot. Okay, so this is where we're sort of going to, I'll come back to that question in a bit, Debbie. This is where we sort of look at what your business is doing and how your business is doing things. Okay, now, you know, a few hundred years ago, before the Industrial Revolution, everybody did things by hand. It was all very manual, and you only had a certain amount of output. Along came the Industrial Revolution, and we had these tools that allowed us to produce more product and service more consistently than than previously. And of course, over the last 300 years, those tools have allowed us to do significantly more information, more stuff than we were previously able to do. But we're going to look at where our businesses are in the total landscape, right? We've got a bunch of competitors that we have to sort of win business against. And we've got to think about whether our business is doing business still in this way, or whether our business is doing more business like this. Now, what happened, you notice in the last one, lots and lots of people. Let's go back, lots of people. There's a dude in a suit supervising everybody. Right? And I guarantee you that in this business, there is one person on a control panel outputting about 1,000 times more results than the previous one. Now, this business is working 24/7 by 365 to deliver, right, solutions to their clients. Now, let's look at why effectively you might do sales and marketing automation in your business. There's a couple of reasons. Okay, now the first of those obviously is that it does increase the number of sales opportunities, usually by about 20%. Right? So there's a bunch of stats you can find online. You'll get about a 14% bump in sales productivity. So if you've got your team is doing sales, you're going to get more. And the best part is that you'll get around 451% more qualified leads in your business than you would if you didn't. And now I don't know about you, but those numbers look pretty good to me. And I prefer to be talking to qualified leads than tire kickers. And Nick, I'm sure you'll do the same. In fact, I've just signed a client in Darwin this week as a, what are they? A bathroom renovation company, and they do high-end bathrooms. And one of the things that we're doing with them at the moment is that we'll use marketing automation to start talking more about the types of bathrooms they do, so that the people that come into the world and the people they do quotes for are going to be more of the top end client that they want to attract rather than the bottom end client that they're having to compete against now. Okay, let's look at some other stuff. Okay, of course, marketing automation pretty much drives more sales more often at less cost and in less time, which all sounds pretty good, right? But ultimately, we've all got our own reasons for why we do some of this. Now, these are some of my reasons. This is my son, James. He is almost as tall as me now. He passed the height of his mother at the age of 11, and he's going to beat me by the age of 14 and a half, I reckon. He's not too far off. Now, the other reasons, we've only got one son, so I like to spend time with him. I coach his rugby team and all sorts of fun stuff like that. And it means I'm taking time out of my business. And I think too often we get caught in our business. And we've all heard the stories about, businesses that fail within the first 5 years. And of course, the number of people, number of hours that small business owners work doing all the stuff in their business, typically because we're not very good at them. But we don't do business for those reasons. We don't do business to be busy. We do business for other reasons. And this is one of mine. This is the second reason of mine. This is my wife, Penny. Now, 5 years ago, I think, 5 years ago, Penny had a stroke at the age of 36. So that's her in hospital. She doesn't like this photo very much, but it's there. And a real realization for me was that, I was suddenly taken out of my business at a stage that was really critical for me. Right? It was just me and my VA in my business at that stage. And I was doing all the work. I was doing all the sales, all the marketing, all the lead gen, most of the delivery work as well. And all of a sudden I had a wife who spent 9-10 months in neurophysio 4 times a week, trying to learn to walk and talk again. Right? And at that stage, what was he, 7 or 8 years old, 9 years old, son that I also had to sort of look after as well. Now, we've all just gone through not a stroke sort of incident, but we've all just gone through this period that with 2020 foresight, we would have approached very differently. Everyone's gone through COVID. Businesses have pretty much all been disrupted in some way. And I've been talking to a lot of clients about sort of going online. And Nick, I'm sure you have as well. A lot of clients coming to me and saying, hey, I should go online. I really need to automate some of my marketing right now because of COVID. And the reality is that we need to be going online, not because of COVID, but because where our customers are. And we need to be automating our businesses because they'll be more robust when things go unexpectedly. Right? And those are things we need to be looking at. Now, the other reason I got into business was this bloke, Uncle Scrooge. He was my favorite golden book as a kid. And the idea of just diving through massive piles of money and seemingly not having to do anything else really appealed to me as a 6-year-old. Right? And I'm sure you have your own reasons for going into business as well. Okay, but let's look at a couple of things here. Firstly, I want to kind of, if you're thinking marketing automation is impersonal, I want to kind of correct that. And the first thing is the goal of marketing automation is to create personalized communication at scale, not to appear robotic and impersonal. Every one of you will have at some point received an email or a text message or something that seems robotic and impersonal. That's not the goal. We want to scale the communication that we would have with one person to potentially 100. Now, unlike our personal lives, where we typically sort of settle for one significant partner and forget all the others, our business can't have one client. Our business needs hundreds, and all of those customers are at different stages of their customer journey, and all of them want to have at least the appearance of being treated like individuals. right? Now, you've got marketing automation in your life right now. Every time you buy a movie ticket that gets delivered to you, right? Every time you get a reminder that you've got a haircut or that your car is, ready to be picked up from the mechanics. Now, Debbie asked a question here, what CRM do I use Infusionsoft, but I've got a bunch of other marketing automation tools in my tech stack, as I know you do as well. Here is a bit of a look at the marketing technology landscape at April last year. There are around, that's not 5,000, there's actually 8,000 solutions on that slide. Okay, so if you're feeling overwhelmed about what to choose, you are not alone. I would certainly not recommend ever going to a Facebook group and saying, what CRM do you use? Because this is what, okay, you're actually only dealing with someone who's got the perspective of the one CRM system or the one marketing automation tool that's a fit for their business, not necessarily a fit for yours or where you want to take it. And this is the sort of landscape that specialists like myself deal with. Now, let's very quickly look at, before I jump out of the iPad, let's very quickly look at why you're going to use a CRM system. And the key one is that about 3% of your market is ready to buy now. That's a really fuzzy slide. I might have to fix that. All right, about 3% of the market out there is ready to buy from you today. That's not necessarily the ones that will buy from you. That's the ones who are ready to buy. The next 7% of the market know they have a problem and are researching a solution. If you think there's things in your life right now that you're going, yeah, I'm going to go and check that out. All right, Nick shared with us a bunch of tools earlier this evening. And some of those you're going to go and check out, not necessarily ready to buy. And yet most of the time, Nick, I've heard you say a couple of weeks ago, you were talking about the fact that the goal of your website isn't to sell something. It's actually just to collect customer details. And this is really why, guys, because if you try to sell, you're only going to sell to the people, that top little green triangle at the top. If you change the focus of your site to go, I'm just going to capture these details, all of a sudden, even if you don't look at the bottom two sections, we just look at the top three, those ready to buy now, those researching, and those who know they have a problem but not really a priority for them because they've got other stuff going on. We change the number of leads we've got from 3% to 40%, right? So it's a 10-fold increase in the number of leads we're going to capture. Now, if your sales conversion comes, is about the same, even if it's less, you're going to close a lot more business. Karen, you can find stuff like this all over things like HubSpot and all over the place, right? So look, marketing automation stats, right? Just do a Google search for that sort of stuff. Okay. Now, this is some other stuff. Obviously, I like to call the bottom group the people that you don't want to have as clients who probably could buy from you, right? And obviously the market there that says they don't know they have a problem. Okay. It's not that they don't have a problem. They're just not aware of it yet. Now, the 30% of the market that have a problem, but it's not a priority, that's because they've got other shit going on in their life, right? They've got mortgages to pay. They've got homeschooling to do. They've got to buy the kid new shoes. They've just had a stack of bills come in the mail. And everyone on this call at some point, if you've been in business for any length of time, will have had those clients who are seemingly hot. And then between sending your proposal and then calling them back to say, why don't you want to go ahead? They'll go, oh, I've had something else come up. It's not that we can't solve their problem. It's just become a lesser priority than something else that's appeared on their radar. Okay. Now, good friend of mine, Cody Butler, said this a couple of years ago. 50% of the people who inquire about a product or service will buy in the next 18 months. Of those who will buy, 15% of them will buy within the next 90 days from somebody. Right. So let's jump into the stuff we're going to cover off tonight. So I'm just going to very quickly shift over to my iPad. So I'm going to stop sharing this one and start sharing this other one and talk about some of the things that obviously we want to take a look at. Now I'm just going to, where do I go to? I've just got black screens now. Nick, you still there? Yes, you are.
Yes, still here. And...
All right, I'm just going to share my iPad now and talk about some of the other stuff. Okay. So very quickly, we talked about some of the things we're going to do, right? So the 5 things that every business owner needs. And And this is where we have, okay, so the 5 things, here we go, let's do this. All right, number 1, all right, you need a source of traffic. All right, so if you want to chuck in your chat box, go for it. What sources of traffic do you have in your business right now? And this might be, it's not, believe it or not, marketing is not social media part of the picture. So your source of traffic might be referral. Your source of traffic might be street signage, right? And walk by traffic. You might get traffic from SEO. I typically say there are 4 sources of traffic, okay? One of those is going, and we call this open. Email's another one, TV, radio, social media, podcasts, webcasts, and so on, Facebook groups. You're typically going to have 4 sources of traffic. And one of those is going to be organic traffic. And that's stuff like your SEO, right? Someone walking past your sandwich board outside your coffee shop, signage on your car, right? That sort of stuff, okay? So that's going to be organic. Stuff that's free, you don't need to pay for. Certainly the post you put up on your Facebook page, I call that organic. You put it out there, hope that someone sees it and they come in, right? Lots of referrals, so it's good to do. We're going to cover that later on. Second one is paid. You got a paid source of traffic. Now that doesn't matter whether it's flyers you put in people's letterboxes, Facebook or Google ads, right? TV, radio, whatever happens to be, okay? So those are paid traffic sources. The third one of those is expert, right? So we're going to, you'll notice an acronym here, OPEN. Right? We're going to open up the opportunities. Third one's expert, right? Podcast, standing on stage, media citations or media appearances. What else we got? Stage presentations, I mentioned that one. Podcasts and so on, okay? So it's platforms where you are presenting yourself as an expert is the sort of third source of traffic. And the last one is our network. And that's not just our customers and our clients, right? It's also our referral partners. And we can get our referral partners to promote us and refer us on a regular basis as well. Okay, so you're going to get 4 different sources of traffic. Now, the more sources of traffic you use, the more effective each of those sources of traffic will be. Now, number 2, all right, we need a hook. Now, to use a fishing metaphor here, right bait, right pond, as opposed to wrong bait, wrong pond, you need some form of hook that gets your traffic interested in having a relationship with us. Now, quick show of hands here. Who's heard of a lead magnet before? Yep, couple there. Awesome. All right, if you haven't got a lead magnet in your business, create one. Now, a lead magnet in your business is a tool which is a little splinter of your expertise that helps your customer, thank you, Karen, is a little splinter of your stuff that moves your customer from where they are to the solution they want. Now, too often in business, we make the mistake of trying to sell our process and our customers don't really care about it. What they do care about is what we can actually do for them and the transition from pain that they're in to payoff where we get them to. And they'll only move from pain to payoff if the appearance of the pain of the process we take them through is less than the pain of staying where they are. Now, most of us at some point know people who have been in a painful relationship, and you kind of wonder why they stay in it, because that's their safe place. Even though it might not be very well, it's very good for them. This is what I know, and this is where I'm going to stay. And our customers have the same sorts of things, right? And our hook is that little free or easy step for them to take that shows them that the process you're going to take them through is less painful than where they are right now. All right, so we all need one of those. Number 3 is our CRM, okay? We need to be able to manage a relationship. Now, the better our CRM system is, the more effective we can manage that relationship. Now, I did a keynote a couple of, just before COVID actually, not quite the same as an elevator pitch, Glenn. We'll come back to that though, right? It's where we manage our relationships. Now, I want you to all try this as an exercise with me. I can't see everybody on my screen, but let's do this. I want you to kind of just raise a sort of your hand or, just a mental hand if you know 10 people in your world? Do you know 10 people? Let's just try this as an experiment. Okay, and most people know 10 people, right? Awesome. Be concerned if you don't. We all know 10 people. Now I want you to also leave your hand up if you also know their birthdays. Okay, might be different 10 people, but you know 10 people's birthdays. Yes, a few hands have dropped. Kim's giving me a bit of a maybe. Right, now third bit of data. What about their favorite color? No, this is a 3 pieces of information, guys. And we know that the more information we collect about our customers, the more likely we are to be able to know whether we're ready to sort of say yes when we pop the question. In the same way that when we get married to somebody, you take time to get to understand and know whether they're ready to say yes, obviously, whether you want to spend the rest of your life with them or not. But the more information we know about them, the more likely we are to be able to read their readiness for us to propose our solution. Of course, if we propose too quickly, it's a bit like having 10 kids on your first date, right? You don't typically get second dates. If you say, hey Debbie, we should have 10 kids. And you'd be like, no, wait, there we go. Well, I was like, what the hell are you talking about, Tim? We don't know each other yet. It's not that we can't or won't. It's because I've proposed my solution too early in your process. You don't know, like, and trust me enough yet. If we wait too long, someone else swoops in and wins the prize. Okay, so our CRM is going to collect information or behavioral information about our customers and tell us when we can propose our solution, when we can make the sale. Now, number 4, right, means of payment. I'm going to tell you a story. I had a client the other day who doesn't want to take credit card payments from her clients. Now, I know some of you are going, what the hell? Why on earth would you do that? Right? You've got to make it easy to take money from your customer. The harder it is for your customer to give you money, the less likely it is that they'll do so. In fact, one of my first clients was one of Australia's top woodworkers and creates some absolutely incredible timber furniture. Sells his tables for $30,000. You buy a chair for $1,000 to $2,000 each chair. And when we looked at his e-commerce setup, having set it up, he just mentioned it in passing. We've had our e-commerce set up for 6 months. We haven't made any sales through it yet. Right, business is kind of on edge. And yet when we looked at it, there was $500,000 worth of abandoned shopping carts in 6 months. Now that was almost 50% of his total turnover. And it was all because it was too hard to put the phone number into the order form, right? It had to be in a very specific format. And if it wasn't, it'd clear the whole order form and the buyer had to start again. Okay, so not only do we need to make sure we can take lots of form of payments, but we've got to make it easy for our customers to pay for us. Right, last but not least, right, we've got to have a means of delivery. And we've got to have a means of delivery a bit like, again, a bit like our personal relationships. We've got to remember what it is that we're delivering and deliver a customer experience that makes our customers want to buy from us again and make them tell other people about the experience. Again, everyone on this call would have at some point bought from somebody who was chasing you for your business. And then after you said yes and they took your money, it was all crickets. Trades are notoriously bad at this. Okay, so you may have already picked up some of the areas that you're losing opportunities and you've got leaks in your business right now. Now, I'm going to pick on 3 of those and really highlight those for you. And the first of those, right, is your connections. You do not need more leads. You just need to convert the relationships that you've already got. Again, one of my clients late last year was a web developer, a bit like what Nick does. 600 connections on LinkedIn. Now we know that people rebuild their site every 5 years or so, which means, of those 600, 100 people a year or 120 people a year are probably rebuilding their site. 10 people per month are in the market right now to say yes. All right, this month, my priority is to rebuild my website. And yet she was out running workshops and doing lead gen activities, and she has 600 people there that she's just not top of mind with at the point that they go, this month, my website is my priority. So the first area that you've got to look at with that you're leaking opportunities right now is just in the connections you've already got. It's no good just connecting to someone on Facebook or on LinkedIn, right? Or adding someone to your database if you never talk to them beyond, hey, thanks for connecting. You've got to continue building the relationship, continue to reach out. Now, if you're using a marketing automation tool correctly, it is going to both do it for you, right? Or prompt you when you need to do some form of manual intervention. Right? I have 2 VAs whose responsibility is just to reach out to people. My automation tool, after they put them in there in the first place, tells them when they need to go back to those people. And literally every single month, I'll be touching base with all 5,000 people in my LinkedIn profile, another 2,500 on Facebook, and another 6,000 in my database. Every single month. Now, when it comes to them remembering who I am and whether I should buy from me or not, right? At the point they go, I need this solution, I'm then one of the 2 or 3 people that they think of. And that's what you guys need to be doing as well. It will absolutely transform the way your business operates if you can do that. The second one is in your pipeline. Now, again, let's see a quick show of hands. How many of you have some form of pipeline management tool that tells you where your quotes are, where your conversations are? Again, not very many. Okay, Nick's got one. Again, we need to do that. Right? A lot of the time we don't know where our opportunities are. Right? They come in and we try and manage it via our inbox, and the next day we've got another 100 emails on top of that, and we've forgotten to go back to that person. Rule of thumb, time kills all deals. Write that down if you need to. Time kills all deals. If you wait to get back, your customer says, I'm going to go and buy from somebody else. Because what you're telling them straight away is that you're not very responsive. And they've got this little mental checklist in the back of their mind that says, who am I going to buy from? They want someone who's reliable and consistent and responsive. And if you're not ticking the boxes in terms of how you manage that relationship when they start to put their hand up, they're going to start to wonder whether your solution is as good as you say it is. Yes, Debbie, I do use Infusionsoft for this. And it is hard work to keep up, right? But we're going to talk about transforming our business. This is what the big guys do, right? If you ever want to get to an 8-figure business and you're not doing some of these things, right, you'll find it very hard to get that. You'll keep bouncing off a glass ceiling of how many relationships you can remember. And we've just established, we find it hard to remember 10 relationships. So it is hard work to keep up, okay? But well worth doing if you want to break through in that glass ceiling in your business. So the pipeline management tool, and there's lots of these on the market, literally just give you a visual representation of where your customers are in your pipeline. Some of them might be at, I've requested a phone call. Some of them might be, I'm thinking about it. Some of them will be, I need more information, and I'm in a nurture process where they're getting drip fed some further information into case studies. Some of them might be in a center quote. Another web developer I worked with a few years ago would never follow up on his quotes. He would just hope that his customer said yes. He'd have the sales meeting, he'd send a proposal, and then literally in one case, 6 months later, he bumped into someone who he'd sent a quote to, and the guy was waiting for Sam to come back to him and said, hey, Sam, are you going to come back to me on that proposal? I'm keen to go ahead. 6 months later. Mick's laughing because he's seen this happen before. And all it needed, again, was a little bit of automation to say, escalate this internally if it's getting a bit long on the tooth, right? If I haven't heard from my client within 3 or 4 or 5 days, send me a text message to say, hey, my client hasn't opened my proposal, or I haven't heard back from them yet. This is one that needs to be dealt with today. Now, the third one as well, I invited earlier, Okay, is follow up.
Not coming through onto the screen there, Tim.
Isn't it? Have I lost the thing? Let me share it
we can
again.
see connections.
New share, hang on.
On the other
Let
right.
me just do a stop mirroring and share it again. Thanks, mate. Is that coming through now?
Perfect.
Okay, there we go. I might just do that. Okay, it's obviously in our follow-up. Now that's both follow-up with our initial conversations, but it's also post-purchase. I think as Nick mentioned before, the process we take our customers through, right, is a machine. It's the same for every single client, or should be the same for every single client. And the more consistently you can deliver that experience, the more likely it is that you can not only save in costs because you get really good at it, right, but you're going to deliver your clients that consistent experience that they're looking for. And that's what they want. Right? We go to McDonald's because we know we get the same burger. Doesn't matter where we go. It's going to be the same every single time. Okay, who'd like to see a self-liquidating funnel? Who'd like to see something that gets you all the leads you ever want? All right, let me do that. Zoom, stop mirroring. Let me go back to the next one. Give me a new screen. All right, share again. New share. How many of you spend money on advertising, by the way? Let's just go with Facebook advertising for now. Got a few there that do it. All right, let's do that. Now, this is obviously really important. This is not easy to get right. You do need to test and measure a whole bunch of different combinations of images and copy and whatnot. But coming back to that lead magnet thing, if you've got a really valuable resource, what I want you to think about doing rather than sort of advertising your free lead magnet and hoping people get it, is advertise your low value product. Okay, this is my, let's call it my $5.90 book or something. Now there's going to be a percentage of people that do it. Some basics to this, of course, is that you have to know what your cost of acquisition is. Now, if you haven't heard of that before, it's what does it cost you to acquire a customer? And then obviously what your average customer value is as well. Your average customer value, everyone's got one. If you remember, it might have been year 7 math. It's the total number of customers divided by the total money you make from them. Doesn't matter what it is. Some will make you more, some will make you less, but you have an average customer value. Okay. And as long as our cost of acquisition is less than our customer value, average customer value, we will make money each time. Okay. So I want to start here somewhere between sort of $5.90 and maybe $9.90. We're going to advertise a low value product that has high value in terms of the transition we create. Right? So if you've written a book, this is a great place to stick your book. Now, you're going to get a number of people who buy this, okay? If you're setting up your Facebook ads, I know, Nick, you had Chantal on a couple of weeks ago. She's an absolute gun at doing these Facebook ads. I'm just going to give you the framework here. I'm not a Facebook ad guru by any stretch of the imagination, but this is what we're going to do. Now, on your thank you page for your book is that you're going to do an upsell, all right, to something that enhances what they learn in your first product. Okay. Now this is usually some form of course. Now your course can be between say $19 and maybe $49. Okay. A percentage of people who buy your book will also buy your course. Now it may not be everybody, but a percentage will. From there, we're also going to do an upsell. Now this is what we call, if you've ever seen Russell Brunson do this stuff, okay, this is what he calls a funnel. It's really much all this point in time sort of stuff. Okay, everyone's going to come in here, and then we've got another course, which is a little bit more detail. This can all be sort of online, guys. You can deliver this through Thinkific, or you could even email drip feed if you wanted to. We're going to sort of do some other sort of course, and this might be, say, you know, $297-ish, right? So $197 to $297, right? You can go up to 500 here. Probably wouldn't recommend it, okay? Now, these are not all of your products. Most of you will have some form of high ticket consulting or product in here as well. This is specifically going to work more for consulting businesses than it might be for a product one, but you can certainly do the same. Now, for every 100 people who come in here, there will be a number of people who buy your book, and there will be a number of people who then buy your course as well. Right? I would recommend long form sales copy if you're doing here. So lots of words. right? Really demonstrate the value to people who don't know who you are. Now, obviously here, when we start to look at the amount of revenue you make, right, from this, let me just undo, right? We're going to make 590 bucks there. 10 people are going to buy this at, say, you know, $37, and one person is going to buy this, let's call it 249. Now, I don't have my calculator here, but the average value, 590 plus 370, right, plus 249 equals divided by 100. Okay, effectively that's $1,590. Sorry, $09. Right? It means we can sort of spend, you know, for 100 clients, right? It means we can spend $15.09 to acquire this customer. So even though we're only spending, they're only making $5.90 out of it, we can afford to spend $15 to acquire that client. Now, here's the thing. All of these guys, all of these people who come into your world, wherever they are also going into your database, which starts to email them extra value, right? You can put them into your retargeting ads and so on as well, where they buy your high ticket item. So the goal is not to make money from this sequence. The goal is to fill your database with as many leads as you possibly can, because the more people are in here, right? We've got another 90 people who at some point in the next 2 years will buy this course, right? We've got another 9 people here at some point will buy that course, right? We've got 100 people at some point might buy your $3,000 a month consulting program. And you can start with $100, with $200, whatever it happens to be, right, to do this process. As long as we know what our numbers are, right, that this $15.09, right, is our cost of acquisition, and it's less than, right, the size of our database. Now, there are a whole bunch of other strategies here. Obviously, the more clients you sign, the more referrals you get, right, it starts to become this self-filling funnel. But you've got to know what your numbers are, and that requires a bit of experimenting. All right, now, what have we got? How long are we going for, Nick? How much time have we got? 20 minutes, 10 minutes, not much. I'm going to fly through some stuff here, guys. Okay, so let me just show you one last thing very quickly. Obviously, a lot of you mentioned that you've got referrals as one of your key processes. I'm going to show you this one over here. This is my Infusionsoft account. Again, you can use any system you want for this. It doesn't really matter, okay, as long as you can create loops and tasks and whatnot. This is the process I started with, and literally I put a tag which segments my customer, right? Segments my contact in my database, and literally they come in as soon as they get this tag, they go into a sequence of activity, in this case, which waits 13 days and raises a task for me to reach out to them. Now, if I want to be top of mind with my referral partners, I can actually raise this task to my VA, which is even better, so I don't have to do it. And the task says, reach out, send them a text message, go and like some Facebook posts again. Now, the thing about referrals for many of us is we agree to these referral partnerships, but never follow them up. And like any relationship, if you're not top of mind, you will be forgotten about. It doesn't take very long in business to be forgotten. And if you've got referral partners that you haven't spoken to for a year and wondering why they don't refer you very often, it's because they don't know who you are, what you do, right? Or whether you're even still in business or not. And I reckon you should be reaching out to your referral partners at least twice a month to offer some help, right? Or like or share, right? So Nick and I are referral partners right now, and pretty much every 13 days or so, every 14 days, I've got a sort of random little variable in there so it doesn't appear like I'm too robotic, right? I'll reach out and I'll see a post that Nick likes and I'll share it with my network. And of course, Nick sees that I share it with my network and goes, thanks very much, Tim. Really appreciate you sharing. I might go and like some posts. Thanks for sharing. I'll send Nick an email and say, mate, what can I do for you this week? Is there any way I can promote you to my network? And he goes, that's really awesome. Nothing right now, but we really appreciate your offering. Now, when I go to Nick and I say, hey, Nick, I've just got my new lead magnet. We talked about that before. Roger, I prefer, if you're doing a liquidating product, you probably want a paid one. That Nick is now comfortable sharing my, in this case, free resource or my book or something with his network. Now, how big's your network? How big's your database, Nick? A couple thousand?
About 5,000.
Okay, 5,000. Now, if I've got 20 such referral partners like Nick, and I'm doing this sort of process with, whether it's me or my team that's doing it, or whether I've got some automated tasks that do this as well. And all of a sudden I've got this potential network of 100,000 business owners who represent my ideal customer. And I say, hey, Nick, can you share my resource, which is my, 3 ways to make more money by the weekend, or my 9-step automation plan to make more profit with less effort. He's going to go, cool, Shinoros, mate, because you're a good bloke and you've been helping me out. And all of a sudden that resource is now shared out to 100,000 people across Nick's network and all the other networks that I'm connected to. How many of those 100,000 people will go, yeah, that looks all right. I'll grab that today. Now, it would only have to be 1%. And that's 1,000 leads into my database. It's effectively 1,000 referrals. Okay. And they're not as strong as a direct introduction, but it's now 1,000 leads into my database that I can now nurture, right, and promote stuff to. And if we're doing some of our self-liquidating stuff as well, I can now start to put this stuff in front of them using some retargeting ads, because I already know who they are, right, for them to buy some of my products. Now, this is a nice, easy one that just literally every so often raises a task for my team to go and do something. You can go a little bit stupid, which I've done, just to show you what it looks like. Okay, and do this. This is my current funnel for my clients, right? That literally between either offering help, asking for help, raising a task for my VAs to do something, sending SMSs, asking my referral partners to share different resources, sending different SMSs. Okay, I'm mixing up the style of communication. I think there's somewhere in there, there's even a task for me to go and call somebody and say, hey, it's been a while, what's going on? We should have coffee. Okay, and it's not always sales stuff, right? Some of these are exactly, hey, it's been a while, we should catch up, let's have coffee. Or what's happening in your world, or hey, really love that recent post you put on Facebook, had lots of value. Okay, we need to be relatable, right? So look, super quick way of automating referrals, guys. You can do the same thing in your onboarding process with your customers. At 30 days, at 45 days, we know that we need to ask for a referral. Okay, you can do all sorts of stuff like that, right? But we're talking about a repeatable process. The same thing happens for every customer every single time. All right, that's about it for me, Nick. I think that was everything. Obviously, there's a bunch of questions in the chat box. I'll get to those as well. Yes, VAs are awesome. VAs will do all the stuff that you should do, can do.
I don't like niggers. 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 Fuck you guys. I don't understand what the fuck you say. I don't like niggers at all.
There we go.
Tim, fuck you, dumbass.
You guys like niggers?
Hello? Fucking nigger.
Yeah, you guys like them?
Shut the fuck up, Tim.
Yo, but my boy Jerome here.
Tim, you can't do fucking shit. You're weak. You render this shit weak.
All right, we seem to have a problem.
Alright, shut up, bitch. Shut up, Nick. Shut up, Nick. Shut up, bitch. Karen, shut the fuck up. Go back to your fucking kids. Talking about. Soccer mom. Karen is a soccer mom, by the way. We don't like niggers, all right? We don't like niggers. Fuck you, Karen, by the way.
Sorry about this.
Yeah, white people are even worse.
朋友是一个坚韧不拔的纪录片，在香港这座城市的设计，无远前河的瑞秋、莫妮卡和一些其他他妈的。
像我每天都在制作视频博客，但我不这样做，哈哈，我真他妈的愚蠢的坚果大。像我每天。
Cock and ball torture from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia at en.wikipedia.org. Cock and ball torture from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia at en.wikipedia.org. Cock and ball torture, CBT, is a sexual activity involving...
All right. So we have muted everyone there. So apologies about that, everyone. It seems that we've just experienced a Zoom bomber. So all the measures that we have to stop them coming in hasn't entirely worked. All right. So what we'll do is I've got everyone on mute, so no one can mute themselves. Let's just unmute Tim again. Okay. All right, you there, Tim?
Unmute. I'm now unmuted.
Excellent. Thank you. All right.
There you go.
Okay, so we'll. Any questions there? I think probably they, in view of the current situation, the way we might manage that is let's put up your hand. There's a little hand icon there, which on your profile, if you put up your hand, we can see it, and then we can unmute you, and then you can ask your question.
There we go. I think there were a couple of messages in the chat that there was turn off the live. Thank you, Karen. All right. Okay. Glenn, head wants to explode. Yep, absolutely. Understand that. that's totally normal. So Dougie, $5 to $6 per prospect is actually really good. You'd be pretty happy with that, I think, in terms of your Facebook ad spend, right? As long as you know that the key one there is not to necessarily to, convert every one of those into a client straight away, but the idea is there is to fill your database with prospects, right? And particularly, I guess, the reason I would normally go for, in a self-liquidating funnel, go for a paid lead magnet. I think someone mentioned there, would you use a free one? The reason I normally go with a paid sort of offering in terms of a self-liquidating funnel is because you start to fill your database with people who've already shown a propensity to buy from you, right? There are a lot of free resources out there in the market, and filling your database with people who just want free stuff isn't necessarily the way to go, okay? We want people who are showing a propensity to purchase. All right, what was the other question there? Glenn asked one about the same as the elevator pitch. No, all right? So if you've ever seen like a guide or an ebook or a checklist or something, again, what you're doing is trying to splinter off some of the product or service that you sell and put it in a sort of context of, a useful resource that can help people take the first step into what it is that you do, right? Solve a big problem for them, and then we're more likely to come back for the next thing, right? I would say there's two types of people in the world. There's the done-for-yous and DIYs. You could unveil your entire process to someone who's a done-for-you person, and they will always buy from you because you've now demonstrated your expertise. Okay, so that, network, that partner engagement campaign I've got, most people look at that and go, just make that happen for me, Tim, right? The DIY people, right? Some of those will never be your client in the first place. It doesn't matter. You can tell them everything in the world. They would never buy from you because they want to do it themselves. right? The other people who are in that space, they'll probably try it for themselves and go, it's a lot harder than I thought it looked. Can you take care of it for me? You are clearly the expert in this space. Okay, so Glenn's thrown another with a couple of questions there. Glenn, can you do this without a website? Absolutely. Kartra, like a lot of the website, the page builders can do this sort of stuff. Certainly Kartra and what else am I thinking? ClickFunnels, right? You can make things look like websites, right? The thing about a funnel, like the funnel stuff, is typically like there's only one thing to do, right? There's only one step. I can only click on that X thing or buy that product or register for that webinar or something. Okay. Websites, you can typically sort of go all over the place, right? You've got your about, you've got your services, you've got your FAQ, your blog, right? It's good to have both. You definitely want to have both at some point, but if you don't have a website, you can kind of approximate a web presence for these things. Yeah, Groove is a fantastic new product that's on the market. I think they're only going to be out for a couple of years. Guys, always be careful when you see these new fancy things come out as well. Just a word of caution on that. Whilst they look good and they're new and they've got lots of new features, some of the problems is that they don't necessarily have a huge amount of support, right? And the ecosystem around them, people who know how to use those systems, there aren't as many, okay? So they'll be harder to find and potentially more expensive, right? No system ever anywhere will tell you how good their support and how good their ecosystem is. And yet most of those things are critical to your success. ClickFunnels, confusing to understand, easier. Yeah, look, you could even go with something like Lead Pages or Unbounce, or look, I know, Nick, you recommend Wix at times. You can build landing pages and all sites in Wix and Squarespace and Weebly, you know, if you want to. Okay, and a good place to start if you don't have a big budget.
And these days, I should say, Tim, that you know, if you've got a website, most of what you can do on some of these tools you can have in a website.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the website, the drag and drop builders in websites are
they've come a long way.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So, but really, it's tools, horses for courses, and it's all about time and money. You know, so you're just trading off of, you know, have you got the time to build something? Do you pay someone to do it? And it's really just that trade-off there. But the key thing is making sure that you get a return on it, which is what.
Absolutely. I think I don't know if you've heard this saying before, but I think the saying that I've often heard is smart business owners spend money to save time, and poor business owners spend time to save money. And you certainly, depending on where you are in your business journey, I know I was, when I first started out, I spent time. I spent so much time, right? And not money. I think Nick will find this hilarious. I, you know, having an IT degree, thought I could deploy WordPress onto my website and my hosting one day. And it took me 7.5 hours before I said, bugger this. And I sent it off to my developer I was using at the time in the Ukraine. He came back 32 minutes, and I said, you know, I just need the WordPress instance installed. Okay, I can take it from there. I can do the templates and everything. He came back 32 minutes later, having done more than I asked. He installed WordPress and installed my template and created my admin login and installed the demo content for me. 32 minutes cost me a grand sum of $8. I'd spent 7.5 hours trying to work this out, and it cost me $8 to fix. Never again. Kareen, what if you sell everything? What do you mean by Kareen? Everything, Kareen? Nobody sells everything. Not even Costco. If you can explain that in a bit more detail, Kareen, I'll answer that question. Debbie Small, what's the lowest amount you would put on a lead magnet? Let's get rid of Jackie there. Nick? Lowest amount, I would probably put, I think you find that there's a sort of these bands of price point that you can get away with that people don't think about. And I think that usual one, the first one's about $5. So if you've got one between $1 and $5, it doesn't really matter. You won't notice a significant difference in take-up rate between $1 and $5. Okay, it's more about, is someone prepared to pay for this resource and demonstrate that they're willing to do so. Okay, next one's usually about $9.97, $10. Then you can usually jump up to sort of 14 to 20. From 20, you can usually jump up to sort of $50 pretty comfortably. Service-based, absolutely the same. Okay, I didn't write that. I know, Karine, that's right. Hands, don't spend $1 worth of time on a 10-cent decision. Absolutely. Linda, service-based. Yeah, that's okay. Look, my business is service-based as well. You can give your knowledge away in a bundle. So think about how you can productize your information.
All right. Well, look, we're sort of just at 7:37 at the moment, so we're sort of almost out of time, really. So I think if anyone's got any additional questions, I'm sure they'd be free to follow you up in some way, shape, or form, and you'll have some process to follow them up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've got all the details, but guys, if you want to connect with me, I said winmoreclients.com.au/connect. Just reach out. Happy to have a chat. See how if we can identify, some, I guess, opportunities for you in your business as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks very much, Tim, for tonight. And I have to say that we've only had two Zoom bombers on here, and Andrew Cominos got the first one, you got the second one, and yours by far was the
more disruptive,
the more extreme. Yep. So it looks like we've still got someone in there. I know, Annette, that you did not say that. So yeah, we can't find out who it is. So we'll just have to try for some more security measures again next time. So for those that are offended, my apologies, it wasn't me. And this is what happens sometimes on the net. All right, so we've got one last thing to do before we go. And do you want to hand the screen back to me there, Tim?
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Sure thing. Stop share.
All right, well.
I think I'll go that one, right?
Yeah, I couldn't quite find where that was. All right.
Yeah.
I think, actually, let's just see if we can share the screen again. For those that are still here, let's just do run the prize draw. Tell us the prize that you got for us, Tim.
I don't know what the prize is, mate. What did I say I was going to give away? I think we're going to do a sort of one-on-one session.
That's right. To map out sort of something to do with automation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, so Tim's going to spend a one-on-one with people. So if you want to sort of make a start or sort of get further, then definitely worthwhile. So let's spin this. We've got an app here that we use to do this, which is called Wheel of Names. So one of my favorite ones. So I've got everyone's name loaded in, and let's spin the wheel and see who is the lucky winner today. Alrighty.
It's me. Oh, no, it's not.
So that would be Hans Jacoby. Is Hans still here?
Hans is still here.
He is.
Congratulations, Hans.
Excellent. Well done. Excellent. Oh, well, this is perfect, actually, because Hans is just launching or sort of into launching sort of a new business as well. Awesome. So, and in fact, probably a good contact for you as well, Tim, because Hans and I have known each other for a long, long time, and very good in business as well. So congratulations, Hans, and also congratulations, Tim, for winning Hans.
Winning Hans, all right.
All right, so let's stop that share and let's get back to it. Okay, just for next week, again, it's on Tuesday, same time, 6 o'clock. We will lock down the rooms a little bit tighter there to stop some of these people in that should not be here. Tomorrow, yeah, that was what I was going to say. Tomorrow, I've been a bit distracted with all that. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we have office hours, which is a open Zoom meeting. It won't be this open, but it's a Zoom meeting where we have you bring your questions along. If you've got any sort of questions about digital marketing, any apps that you want, your website, anything to do with your online marketing, that's at 10 o'clock tomorrow. I think Yep, the link is now in chat. So, so that's a no agenda thing. So we don't have a presentation. There is no agenda. Just come along, have a discussion, and it is actually, we get some interesting topics in there as well. So you're all welcome to come along to that. The link is in chat right now, and we'll also post it on the Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook page. If you're not a member of that, go and join it, because that's where we announce all of these events and all that sort of thing as well too. All right, so thanks once again, Tim, for your time tonight and all of your wisdom tonight. And thanks for everyone else for coming along. And we'll see you all again next week. Yes, I think I might have something a little stronger than a cup of tea. So, so thanks, Natalie.
Time for a whiskey, mate.
I reckon. All right, everyone go and have a good night, and we'll catch you back here next week.